It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Of course, it's Sunday morning and time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles, and you're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show, locally created, nationally celebrated. We're here at Portland International Raceway for Lucky Dog Racing event, and we have an exciting lineup for you today. Well, what we'll be doing, we'll be talking to some of the drivers going around the track. We'll share reviews of the track. We're going to be talking to Lucky Dog Racing, all of those people involved, including Kathy McCaw's Fuss. Also, our guest and honored retired Staff Sergeant Shiloh Harris will be with us. We'll have some fascinating women who are racing the track, and we might just get to talk to them as they drive around. We'll find out how you can join Lucky Dog Racing. So first of all, we'd like to start out with a big salute to the dogs. Lucky Dog is honored to recognize all branches of the military this Father's Day weekend. Last weekend, we had Mark and Sparky on the show to talk about Lucky Dog Racing and how people could get involved. But today, we have Kathy McCaw's Fuss. She's CEO of Lucky Dog Racing. Good morning, Kathy. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Test Miles. We know a little bit about what you do from last week, having the guys on the show, but there is so much more to find out. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. How did you get started in women's racing and the industry? Because it doesn't seem like it's something that women would be chasing after.
You know, that's an interesting question, and I get asked that quite a bit. I'm actually somebody's grandma, and I used to be the VP of Global Marketing for a very large software company in the San Francisco Bay Area, where we're based out of. And literally one day driving to work at 10 a.m., I came in, closed my door, quit my job, and by 4:30 at the end of the day, I had bought a dirt track car, a Camaro. So my first season was spent tearing up a lot of equipment, sliding around in the dirt, and I've been driving now for 10 years.
Now, you started your own league, so it went from being a driver to somebody that owns their own league. What was the inspiration for that? Why did you decide to own the league itself?
You know, being an entrepreneur and being a marketeer myself, I really felt like there was an opportunity in the marketplace for amateur racing. I didn't start racing until I was 42 years old, and it was a life-changing experience, and I really wanted to share that with others. And you're going to be interviewing a lot of women today. We have all ages. We've got several teams out there that have folks that are in their 70s and early 80s. We have mothers, daughters, sons, girlfriends, wives. It's really a sense of community here at Lucky Dog, and I really felt there was a void in the marketplace between being a racer and being a fan. So we're trying to bring everyday folks like you and I, put them behind a wheel and allow them to enjoy some of the most premier racetracks in the country, including Portland International Raceway.
Now, this is a great news, especially for people like Brad Boyer. If people are starting racing in their 80s, there's still a chance for him. Now, if someone is interested in racing, how do they get started?
Well, a great way to get started is to come out and spectate. And as a matter of fact, we have folks that come out and join us as volunteers, as pit marshals, and they get to be on hot pit lane, learn all about the series, meet other teams. And the premise of this series is to have a mass production street legal car that is turned into a race car. And there isn't any kind of complicated dollar value, etc. We're just looking for cars that are at least 15 years old. And all kinds of cars make great endurance race cars. We've got everything from Hondas to BMWs to Fieros that have been repackaged as Ferraris.
Now, so tell me a little bit about, explain the endurance race, which is going to happen today, and what happens out there on the track.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. You truly don't appreciate what race cars are doing or race drivers are doing when they're out on track. What we do is we allow our teams to run, depending on the race and location, anywhere from 7 hours to 24 hours. So sometimes we do have folks that race overnight. This particular race will be 7 hours today, 7 hours tomorrow. Most teams consist of 3 to 4 drivers. We have some teams that are out here just to have fun. They have 7 drivers. We allow teams to drive 2 hours at a time, and then they have to switch drivers. 2 hours in a race car is a lot of work, let me tell you.
Unless you're Mario Andretti, where after 10 hours we couldn't get him to get off of the track. So really the lightweights out here today, because 24 hours is a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a lot more civilized. And to be honest, it all depends on what a team is comfortable with. We have teams that run 45-minute stints. Obviously, when you come in, every time you're coming in for a pit stop, you're going to lose some of your position. But keep in mind, in a 7-hour race, a lot of things can happen, and you certainly don't win a race on the first lap.
So let's talk a little bit about Lucky Dog and how to find out more about Lucky Dog Racing. Presumably you have a website. What locations are you going to? What's your schedule like over the year?
Yeah, it's really, really exciting for us. We're actually in our second year, and we have 9 events on the West Coast. We kicked off the 2016 season at Mazda Raceway at Laguna Seca. We will be up here a lot in the Pacific Northwest, and we actually, even though we're based out of San Francisco, we consider Portland our home track, and that's where we come every April and throw a big racers party. This year, we've added a Mexico race. So we're going to be racing the streets of Rosarito Beach in August, and you haven't raced until a donkey has crossed the track.
Now that sounds like a lot of fun. I hear, and someone told me about this morning, and I really didn't understand it, and it seems the most bizarre thing in the world. You have something called melon racing.
Oh, yes. It's not all about race cars out here. And we've kind of taken a twist on the Pine Derby racing, and we've built a track. And folks come out here today. When we finish racing, we're actually going to be racing watermelons and cantaloupes with wheels on them, and it's a blast.
What do you get if you win? Do you get you get to eat the melon, or do you win all the melons, or what?
Well, ends up happening, some of these melons crash, so you get all kinds of good stuff going on. But we do have a beautiful Minion trophy that's awarded for this event. But yeah, if you want to learn more about this series, we encourage you to go to www.racelucky.com, and we're also all over social media.
I would also say I'm not licking any melons off any pavements. There's a charity angle to this whole Lucky Dog Racing series. What's the charity angle? How does it work?
Yeah, the one thing, and you asked about how I got into motorsports. I'm very involved in the Bay Area in a number of nonprofit activities and volunteering for hospice, Meals on Wheels, a variety of things. So it was really important for me to have a race series that gave back to the community, and we have a program that's called Giving Paws. Get it? Doggy Paws. And it's about really being so blessed to be able to go out and spend our weekends out there racing. Our philosophy is we're going to leave a community in better condition than when we arrived. And we've been raising thousands of dollars in the last 15 months for all kinds of local animal rescues. This particular event is Northwest Battle Buddies out of Battleground, Washington, and they're the folks that are responsible for training service dogs for vets that are coming back and really battling with some demons still.
You have got me at military service, racing, and dogs. It's like a 3-in-1. It's like
it's
the most
trifecta.
Right. It's the most amazing thing that you could possibly do for those. Let's talk about the cost of racing, because it's not cheap. Racing can be a very expensive hobby to do. I mean, even just coming down here and seeing trailers and the trucks to pull the trailers and maintaining these. We talked about this before in the past, that the only way to make $1 million in racing is to start with 10. But you guys have a sort of a cap. You work hard at keeping it to an affordable way to race, right?
That's correct. And when I talked about, this being an amateur racing series, we are committed to keeping it an amateur racing series. I mean, we don't want really, really, really high horsepower cars out here. We want to keep the cost down. And for a lot of these teams, you mentioned there's trailers out here. Yeah, we've got some folks out here have got haulers, etc. But a lot of these cars were picked up for anywhere between $500 to $1,000. Now they still have to put safety equipment in it, and that's about $1,500 when you're putting a roll cage in and belts and that kind of thing. But you're not spending any more here at the track over a weekend, paying for gas and that kind of stuff than you would be able to, go do something else fun here in the Portland area. So it's highly affordable.
We have a special announcement for everybody. Portland International Raceway will be hosting an open house on June 26th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Free for spectators, and if you want to drive your car on the track, $20 a car, or take a ride for $30. Wait a second, that seems wrong to me. I'd much rather drive my own car, and it seems to be cheaper to do that. I think I'll be out here doing that. You're listening to Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles. We'll be right back.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Staying connected with the automotive world, you're listening to our Test Miles radio show. I'm your host, Nick Miles, and we're located at Portland International Raceway. Today, Lucky Dog going on here. We're pleased to welcome decorated Iraqi War veteran Staff Sergeant Shiloh Harris. Thank you for your service, by the way, Shiloh. And we are really honored to have you as a guest on Test Miles. Now, a lot of people know your story, but after your accident, you got inspired by racing. And I was kind of thinking to myself, why racing? Why not hang gliding? Why not golfing? Why not sword fighting?
Well, to be honest, I'm just a big fan of living life, and racing, it doesn't get much faster than that. So I'm just proud to be here. And, to be honest, when I say I'm proud to be here, I guess that could be more than one meaning, because after being blown up 700 pounds of explosives, I think anybody would be proud to be here.
So now, how's your career doing? I mean, racing is a tough game. We talk to a lot of guys here who come out with their cars and they spend a lot of money. I always say this: the best way to make $1 million in racing is start with 10. It's an expensive sport. It's hard to do. How's it going for you? How are you winning races? At least are you getting across the finish line?
Well, today's going to be my actual first day driving a race car. And, when I say I race, I race my kids in go-karts all the time. And it really makes me feel good to crush them, all of them, because they crush me at so many other things. So being able to be in a car today is going to be a tremendous boost for me. I'm super excited.
How's it done? How's the racing helped you? Do you think it sort of helped you mentally, helped you physically, and really sort of given you a release? Because a lot of times, let's just say you're a veterinarian, for instance. You go out all week, you see some of the saddest cases of animals all week, and then you come to the racetrack on the weekend, and it's kind of the release. It lets everything out. It really gives you the opening to let all of that pent-up emotion out. So has it sort of helped you?
Well, it has. It's helped me so much, and it's just like I said. I'm a big fan of living life, and getting to go to the track and watch these cars and the time and effort and the precision that goes into these vehicles and the speeds and I mean it's not just going out there and driving a car fast. I mean everything that goes into these vehicles, just like you said, start with 10 and you might make $1 million, but the feeling and the rush and everything that comes with it is such a huge motivator. Otherwise, why would people do it?
I love to race too, but I have a trouble with the corner part. I'm okay on the straightaway, but it's when you get to the corners that's when it gets really complicated. Who are you racing with? Who are your teammates? Who are the people that you're spending your time with, and who are you working with?
Okay, I'm going to be in trouble here. I'm actually going to meet them.
For the first time?
Yeah, for the first time. I am very proud to be here with Lucky Dog Racing. And one of my very good friends, and he was on my first deployment, Joel Brown. He's got the recovery vehicle here. He was the one that helped coordinate this and set me up, and it's just such an honor to see him again. 11 years was the first time I got to see him last night. Wow. And it was just, we had a couple other friends come in from around Oregon. They drove in, flew in, and I'm going to tell you what, man, last night I was like a kid, man. I was like trying to get here. I'm like, come on, I'm going to get there, see my friends. And then, of course, today I'm anxious to race and continue to hang out with my buddies.
Yeah, so it's on top of just being a great day racing and being on the track, it's quite an emotional day for you as well. And what are you driving today? What car have they stuck you in?
Oh, they sent me a picture of it. It looks like a little BMW.
All right.
And I've been asking him, I'm like, send me details because I wanted to research the vehicle. Now, we own a little BMW, but it's not a race car. So,
at least you know where the gear shift is and the pedals and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I'm almost positive I can figure those out.
All right, so one of the other things I thought was kind of interesting today was, as an inspirational speaker, what would you like to say really to other people and retired military and personnel sort of listening to the show about racing and about your experiences?
Well, I can tell you this. I am extremely blessed. I've been very blessed in my recovery, and that's what led me to do what I do. Now, where I'm at today with everything that I do is we're trying to bring veteran awareness, and we're also trying to bring awareness to the communities on how to help welcome veterans home, but also we're trying to get the veterans to be aware of the issues that they may be facing. You know, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but we're actually absolutely plagued with an epidemic of veterans and active duty military killing themselves. And that's a sad fact. We're up to over 30 a day. 30 a day is the average number of suicides. And I know that's hard to imagine, but it's true. They're talking about trying to get veterans into race cars. And, you know, it's been a release for me. It's been something to put my mind at ease and keep it busy and not think about all those bad things that happened to me. And, you know, I think that's a lot of it is if you find something that occupies your time that you love and that you enjoy, it helps you enjoy living life. And, you know, it makes you not necessarily think about those bad things that happened to you in war or the things that you've seen in war. And, you know, I mean, I consider a lot of our services honorable services, but yeah, there's certain things that you see that stick with you. Now, I just ask anybody out there to at least say thank you to a veteran. But, you know, if you know a veteran that's having a hard time, try to find help. There's a lot of resources out there. We've got a lot of resources on my website, shilohharris.com. You know, please check it out and hopefully save a life.
Now, there's a couple of things that I'm fairly aware of here that's being done. One I think is great. There is a place called Bob's Auto Cafe here, and what they do is it's a 501c charity, and what they do is they take veterans and they train them on how to repair and work with cars. So a lot of times those guys that are coming out of the service, they try and give them a purpose, they give them something to do, they give them some sort of training, and that to them is free. So they go down there and do that. Obviously, what Black Dog is doing with you, that's helping you. Are you going to continue to come here and be a race car driver, or continue to go to these races, or is today the test? Is this the litmus test to see if you get back in a race car?
Well, I think today is going to be another test, because the last couple of tests that I've had, I actually took other veterans out and put them in a racing position. And we've tried to get other guys that, it's like we had a really good friend of ours that was motocross and had a terrible incident on his bike, as well as a terrible incident on active duty service. And so we got him back out to the racetrack, and I was like, well, you don't have to drive a bike. You could drive a vehicle, you know, like a bigger vehicle. Right. And hopefully, you know, cut some of the risk. But we got him out there on the track, and he loved it. And as far as I know, he's been, you know, following through with it. But we've done that with a few people, and today, I think today may be my day.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to encourage everybody to come down, see you race. Thank you for your service. And again, personally, I want to thank you for your service, and I'm going to wish you all the best luck tomorrow when you get out there on the track and do some more racing. I want to make sure that you come in at least in the top 3. You are listening to Test Miles on KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
We'd like to thank you for being part of our radio show, and for more stories about cars, please feel free to read my Oregonian stories or go to testmiles.com. Now, racing, as most of us know, has been predominantly a men's sport. There are few women in racing, but there have been some women that made history, like Helen Nice. She is also known as the Bugatti Queen. She joined the Bugatti team in 1931, being the only female on the Grand Prix circuit. Or Lynn St. James, the first woman to win the solo North American professional road race at Watkins Glen in New York in 1985, and also the first woman to win the Indianapolis 500 Rookie of the Year in 1992. So today we want to know the buzz about racing from a woman's point of view. Our first driver we'd like to talk to is Dina Barker, number 28 with Show Racing. Today she'll be racing a 1989 Ford Show. When did you start racing?
Actually, I started racing in 2012. Because the team was short a driver, and so my husband, we were going back and forth, and I finally just said, okay, fine, I'll race. I've always loved driving, but I didn't know about racing per se, but had been around it for the last several years while he's been racing. So it was just, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it this one time, that's all.
And you kind of got hooked, like you come back time after time now.
Well, after that point, it was pretty much a given that I was part of the team at that point. So it was like I couldn't get out of it. So I just went forward with racing, and you just learn to embrace it because it's such a unique sport.
So what's your strategy as a racer? I mean, it's got to be slightly different than a guy's strategy, and you think obviously women think differently. Mm-hmm. They yin when we yang. So what do you do differently?
Well, my goal out there when I'm racing is don't lose any spots. Make sure you keep all 4 tires on the pavement, and don't wreck the car. Somebody else can wreck the car, not me. And then have fun.
So in the whole summation of everything, is it about winning races or just beating the guys?
Well, it would be nice to win the race, but at the same time, the race is won by the team, and so it's all about the teamwork. So we're out there, and everybody's contributing their part of this to winning the race. For me, it's about being part of the team and talking about the strategies. We talk about, camber on the car. We talk about the brakes. We talk about how is it handling. We talk about the tires. I mean, it's really become something that, my husband and I spent a lot of time doing. And like for Christmas this year, we gave ourselves a enclosed trailer to bring the car to the races. And then we bought toolboxes and stuff like that. And so it's, it's just become part of what we do. It's part of our time that we spend together.
And Christmas shopping's pretty easy in your house. Who's your favorite driver, and tell me why?
Actually, my favorite driver has been Carl Edwards for a long time. He used to race the Ford, which of course he doesn't anymore. But that was one of the reasons why we were attracted to him as a driver. And he's just, you want to believe in those people who are just nice people. And he's just one of those nice people. But he's aggressive. He gets the job done, and he's had some really good successes out there.
Now, if people want to find out more about you, your career, and so they can follow you particularly online, where would they go?
The only profile I actually have up is on my LinkedIn. And so that's just my professional profile for business purposes. And then there is, my husband has Dwayne Barker. He keeps everybody informed about what's going on Facebook with the team and Show Shark Racing.
So this being Father's Day, and my dad was very influential in getting me into this business. How about you? Did you have a father who kind of got you hooked on cars?
My father actually had been involved with cars all of his life. He started by owning a gas station with a garage, and he repaired cars, and he's done that virtually, from as much as I can remember being a little kid. I grew up in a garage, per se. And so racing hasn't always been part of that, but it's always been being around cars. But the fun part for me is my father passed away last year. And so the fun part for me being involved with racing was for the time that I started racing, he was just so excited about me being in the car. This is like, you don't grow up thinking that your daughter is going to start racing, because it's just a passion of yours. But he would get so excited and, come to the racetrack with us. He worked on the car with us. He, when I was doing lessons up at ORP, that's the first place I did some track time, and he basically climbed in the car to listen to Bill Murray talk about how I was doing around the track, and how was I taking all the different turns and everything. He was just so excited about just being part of this and being able to share that with me. So it was a really special father-daughter time for us.
And I bet all your boyfriends are always excited early on in your life because you could change their oil for them in their cars, right?
Well, I won't say that I know how to do much on the cars itself, but I can say that, I've changed battery cables and some belts, and I've changed tires and done some different things to the car. But, as far as working on the cars, I leave that up to the guys because they like doing that. But just have a lot of fun out there with them.
All right, so now we're going to talk to Katie. Now, she's out on the track racing as we speak. Katie, good morning. How are the track conditions today?
I think they're pretty near perfect. I prefer a dry track, and that's what I got, so I'm not complaining.
How are you feeling on the track? Are you feeling like this is going the way you want it to go? Are you feeling like there may be a win in your future?
Well, there's always a possible of a win in the future, but right now things are going really great. It's pretty crazy how something so insane can feel so familiar.
Talk me through what you're doing. So give me maybe a little play-by-play as you go around the track, and obviously not in the turns because we don't want you pressing the button to talk on the radio as you go through the turns. But give me a little taste of how it feels out there.
Definitely. It feels pretty good. I just completed turn 7, which is kind of a tricky turn, but my favorite part is the back stretch, which I'm at right now. And definitely the fastest part. I just like to go fast in a straight line, so this is where it's at.
So how fast are you getting on that back straight? What's your MPH?
Currently just finishing turn 11 there. I think I was probably going about 50. Trying to speed up here. I think our gauges are malfunctioning. Oh, hey, there we go. Reached 100 just there.
So tell me what your favorite track is on the circuit that you race.
Well, that's an easy answer. I've only raced at PIR, so definitely this is my favorite.
And what's the most enjoyable part of being on the racetrack for you? Is it that back straight, how fast you get? Is it the turns? Or the overall exhilaration?
I think the funnest part is just getting better. Each race I do, I see myself improve just a little bit, get a little more comfortable. So I think my favorite part is just learning something new and getting better each time I try it.
Well, thank you, Katie. Good luck out there this weekend, and safe driving, and be careful of those guys that spin out in front of you.
Oh, you betcha, always. Thanks so much.
Katie's going to be running around that track for the rest of the day, but when we return on Test Miles, we're going to be here trackside reviewing the cars that we've been driving this week. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
All right, welcome back to Test Miles. I am Nick Miles, and we are at PIR doing our car reviews. If you'd like to see some more car segments, of course, you can tune into Coin 6 in Portland every day of the week. We're actually going to film this as well, so if you want to go back and look at the cars online, you can see the video at our YouTube page, which is Nick J. Miles, Nikjmiles. So let's start off with what I've been driving this week, and I'm standing right in front of it. This is the brand new 2017 Chevy Volt. They've redone the beginning of the vehicle, or the front end of the vehicle, to make it look much more like a small class sedan that you would buy every day. This has stability tracks. It also has a 120 volt portable charging cord, speakers, nice remote, keyless entry, rear camera, teen driving mode, tire pressure monitor, and an 8.9 gallon tank. Now, the idea behind the Volt is it's actually an electric car which has a gas generator on it. It has a 1.5 liter VVT DOHC 4-cylinder engine. 149 horsepower is what you'll get out of the car, and it's a front-wheel drive. Let's really talk about what this car goes up against. It was kind of the Prius killer. That's what they did with this car. They wanted it to take over that space that the Prius had, and it looks really nice. They've done an excellent job in reforming the Volt. It's really nice on the outside. It's excellent on the inside. It has premium materials, an 8-inch LCD touchscreen. It also starts at $34,500. Now, although you can get a tax credit a lot of times on these vehicles, the tax credit is getting reduced year after year. Originally, the federal tax credit was $7,500, but as we go through time, you'll get less and less as a tax credit as we move more towards pure electric vehicles. I will tell you, this Volt is one of the best cars that I've actually driven. It is smooth, it's really hard to tell whether it's an electric or gas mode, and it's a lot of fun to drive. Now, it's not a sports car, you don't get a lot of pick up and go in the car, but I will tell you, 5 stars from me on the Volt. All right, Sean, what have you been driving this week?
This week I've been driving the Chrysler 300S, and the S actually has some really cool features with the blacked out grille on it, blacked out rims. It also has some really great tech with it. The collision warning, adaptive cruise control. If you're following someone and someone stops into you, the car will stop with you. It also has lane keep assist, so will help you keep in the lanes. The Uconnect, which won multiple awards, is one of my top favorite. You can get a text message and then actually talk back to someone. So you don't have to pick up your phone, you just reply. If you just talk and text. Engine in this, it's unbelievable. Just driving this car is so comfortable, luxury. You have the V6 with 300 horsepower, and if you want to bump up to the Hemi, it has 386 horsepower. Best fuel economy with the V6. Its competitors are the Nissan Maxima, Hyundai Genesis, Ford Taurus, and this is a top contender in my category with them.
All right, thank you, Sean. And Brad, what have you been driving this week?
I had the opportunity to drive the Hyundai 2017 Santa Fe Sport. Now, Hyundai came to the United States through Portland, Oregon 30 years ago, and they came with the XL, which frankly did not excel. But things have definitely changed over the last 30 years, and this is one example of an amazing vehicle. So this Sport is the scaled-down version of the full-size 7-passenger Santa Fe. And this is, while scaled down in size, it's a 5-passenger 2-row, is substantially superior vehicle in a bunch of different ways. The 2.0-liter engine, the turbocharged engine, puts out 240 horsepower and is wicked fun to drive. It has torque, acceleration. You can pass all the Priuses on the road that you want. And the technology on the inside is superior. You've got an 8-inch touch screen, and you have lane avoidance and 2 cameras to see everybody walking back and forth. Pulling out of the parking lot here at PIR, we had some 10-year-old girl walking right behind the car, and it beeped to alert me that this was going on. So the Santa Fe Sport is definitely the way to go if you don't need 3 rows. It's fun. It competes against the Ford Edge, the Nissan Murano. The Grand Cherokee, tough competition, but the price is well less than a lot of those. It starts at $25,000. For this one, fully loaded, goes all the way up to $38,000, but a great buy, and I'd say the top of the list for the midsize SUV.
Well, we're down on the pits with Kim Kuzman, and she is going to tell us a little bit about her family involvement with this race at PIR. So, Kim, tell me a little bit about your background in racing.
So I grew up at the racetrack. My family's been involved for a number of years. My uncle Eddie Kuzma, he used to build chassis back in the late 1940s, 50s, and through the 60s. He is inducted to the Hall of Fame back in Indianapolis. He got inducted in 2003. And I've been involved since I've been going to tracks at Circle Track when Portland Speedway was here, and I've been coming out to this track since 2000. For Lucky Dog, I'm a driver as well as a team manager, so we go out there and we take shifts. Our car is actually all corner workers, as I call us, and so basically a driver wanted to give us a car to see what the other side of the coin looked like. So we come out here, we have a little bit of fun, and it does give you a totally different perspective. We have 2 auto racing clubs here at Portland International Raceway, and I'm involved with Cascade Sports Car Club and Oregon Region Sports Car Club of America. And I go out and I talk to people. I tell them, hey, this is what I do, and we're looking for, young people, we're looking for women, we're looking for all kinds of specialties, from timing and scoring to being on the turns to somebody like me. I do pace car and I'm also a starter, so we have a bunch of different things people can do out here.
What are some of the attributes that women bring to racing?
I think that for me, I've noticed that I bring a little bit of calmness, when it comes to negotiating situations with people. You can actually, be able to assess the situation and talk to whoever is having a problem, or, just kind of rationalize on a situation and make sure that things go correctly.
All right, this is Portland, Oregon. At PIR, it does rain a lot. So what happens at the race if it does rain?
Well, track conditions change dramatically. We are running on just regular street tires. That's one of the things that we don't have race tires or street tires. So we have a little bit of forgiveness, but when it gets greasy out there. So when the rain comes down, next thing you know, you feel like you're on ice, and you have to really figure out how to pitch the car into a turn and keep it on the racing surface.
Awesome, Kim. Thank you so much. You're listening to Test Miles. Of course, we're here 24/7 at testmiles.com. You can catch me on Coin during the week or read my articles in the Oregonian. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks to Sean, to Jen, to Brad, and also to Ryan for being here today for the show. Hope you enjoyed listening to Test Miles. The show can be heard on our podcast on YouTube, or just go to the website. You'll get loads more information, testmiles.com. I'm Nick Miles.